So why don't we create a new class, and we'll make this we'll call it biplane. And the way in Python that you signify that biplane will be a child class of the superclass or parent class airplane is you just put inside the parentheses, or when you're creating usually you don't have parentheses, but when you're creating the class, you put in parentheses after the class, you just put airplane. And now you have a class biplane, which is a child of the superclass airplane. And you can just write pass, which doesn't do anything. It's yelling at me because there's no spacing. But just to kind of show why is this yelling at me? I think it's missing a space also. Okay, just to show kind of what a child class does, it will inherit all of the methods, so all of these methods that we've written, and all of the attributes of the parent class. And we'll get to method overriding later, and also, yeah, method overriding. But right now we can create a biplane. So we'll say, we'll just call it biplane, it doesn't matter. But biplane gets, and we're creating an instance of the biplane class here, creating a biplane object, right? And if you can tell that there's nothing here, so all it's gonna do is it's gonna go to the default. It's gonna go up here and use the constructor of the airplane class, the parent class. So let me know if it gets a little confusing. So right now there's nothing in biplane. We'll add stuff to there later, but we can create. If you guys can see here, it's asking for all the methods of the airplane class. So this is a little extensive. Why don't we get rid of? We don't need fuel. Yeah, so we don't have to do anything. I think if we just, yeah, yelling at me for spaces. All right, right now there are default like attributes that I've entered in, so you don't actually need to enter in anything, but you can enter in like the wingspan is, say, like 35 feet, because a biplane's a lot smaller than a regular plane. And you could do biplane dot wingspan. As you can see, even though this is a biplane object, like obviously it's no longer airplane. We used to call it, when we were messing with it before, the objects used to be called airplane, right? This is now a biplane here, but it still has the attributes of airplane. So we can do biplane dot print, or yeah, wingspan, and this will give us the wingspan of the biplane. Oh, you know what? I spelled wingspan wrong. My bad. Here we go. 35, because we assigned it a wingspan of 35. We can also access all the other ones. Right now there's nothing in model, so. Oh wait, you know what? We made model a private attribute. Here we'll just do location, and there won't be anything under location because we set it as nothing so far. But the point is you can create I'm just trying to show that biplane will inherit, since it's the child class of airplane, will inherit all of these methods and attributes, so that you don't need to write all these again if you're creating say like multiple kinds of airplanes inside of the airplane class. I guess you can even make a helicopter or something. It's kind of an airplane. But you won't have to rewrite all of this. So it really it helps you reuse code in the future or it helps you say you don't necessarily need to write all of these. Someone else can write these, and you can just use their class when you're writing your own code, which is really one of the reasons why you can use Python for everything. All right, anyways, moving on. Right now, obviously, Biplane doesn't do anything. So we want to add some functionality to Biplane. And to do that, we need its own constructor, right? We need to create using the init method, we need to create a constructor. So spell init, right? Yeah, okay. In this case, what kind of attributes do we want to give Biplane? Doesn't really matter right now. We can keep it the same. However, we are kind of overwriting the this is the parallelogram class and the rectangle class that we'll go over in a second. But right now we are kind of overwriting the default constructor here. So we need to give all the same attributes again. And then because we want to give this a since it's class airplane, we want to include the airplane constructor inside of the biplane constructor, because we'll add on to it in the future. But for now, we need to use because we also need to create an airplane while we are making a biplane. It's kind of confusing, but you just need to create an airplane also, because by writing init twice, because it's also going to inherit init here, but by writing your own constructor, it's overriding. It's called method overriding, but it's overriding this one. So for now, we want to keep it the same. So you can do airplane dot underscore underscore init. And then you can include basically all of these inside. You wouldn't need the selves. All right, bear with me for a second. Okay, let me just check. What's the error? Okay, got it. So let's see. We don't need any of these. Okay, why is it giving me an error? Let's see. Are we missing something? Oh, here, there's an equal sign. All right, terrific. There we go. That was weird. All right, so and right now we'll do it this way. We can use super in the future, which is the better way to do it. But what we're doing here is we are creating a constructor for biplane, and we're using all the same attributes, and then we're putting them into the constructor. We're using the airplane class here, and then the constructor from airplane, and then we're putting all of these parameters inside the constructor to create into the parameters of airplane. Which is kind of confusing, but we're just creating we're using this to create an airplane. But it's because we want to use the airplane class, but we want to extend the functionality of it. So we could have also in biplane we can have, say, like, what's different from a biplane than a regular airplane, right? The number of wings. And then we can set that equal to 2. Obviously, you might not need a biplane class, but this is just to kind of go off of what we built last time. So now we have an attribute wings 2, right? Which is not in the original airplane class constructor. We are extending the functionality here. So we need to create a wings attribute inside of biplane. So we would do self.wings gets, and then just wings. And this is a parameter, so you can change it. You can even create, I guess biplane wouldn't be the greatest name, but you can create like 3, 4, 5, 6 winged planes, if you want to, really adjust it to your liking. This isn't really useful. This is just for demonstration purposes. Anyways, now that we've created like its own parameter here, we could create another method that would just print the number of wings, and then this would just print wings, or self.wings, right? And now we can test it out. We can run the function num wings, or biplane dot num wings. And then when we run this, it'll give us 2. So that whole process was kind of just to show you can create a airplane. You can create its own constructor, and then use the airplane constructor inside of it, but you can add additional functionality to it. So it retains all of these methods and attributes, but we can just add on to it wings. So you wouldn't have to rewrite all of these again. Obviously this isn't terribly useful, but you can print like wings. You can print inside of this function, do a loop-de-loop, and then when you run this again, I'll say number of wings 2, and then it does a loop-de-loop, because biplanes can do a loop-de-loop. At least we'll say they can. And that's kind of how you would write this is a child class of the parent class plane now. And in the future, instead of writing airplane, you can just write super. There's a super method, and all super does is get rid of the instance there. Super will reference the parent class of whatever your child class is. So this will yield the same functionality. And you don't have to only use super when you're using the constructor. You can also use super to access any of the methods up here from airplane whenever you're creating your method in the future, your methods inside of a child class. So this is the real basics of it. Does anyone have any questions on this? Is anyone confused? There's not really a reason for what we did. It was just to show that biplane, the child class of airplane, will have all of its methods and attributes. And then we can add functionality onto it by adding wings and creating its own methods. And by the way, when you create, like I said, when you create a like another method with the same name as its parent, you are overriding the method. So we can overriding the method in the parent class. So we can do kind of the same thing. Say like fly airplane, or you know what? Why don't we? Yeah, say fly airplane. If we just copy and paste that, we can have fly airplane inside of our biplane. We are overriding the one above, and we could change it if we want to. Say fly airplane, new location, and then well, why don't we change, I don't know, I guess the passenger capacity wouldn't change, but we can have, I don't know, we can just say the wings change or something. Or, you know, it doesn't even matter. We can have that, and then we could just print out this is the overrided method. Okay, I spelled that right. There we go. This is the overrided method. Why is it yelling at me? Typo. Okay, it doesn't matter. I think I spelled that wrong, but we can do biplane dot fly airplane and then give it a new location, say like Chicago. You know what, why don't we print out the self.location again. And then we'll set it as, right now it's set to nothing. So we'll set it to Chicago, and then if we run that, it will give us the new location. Previously, it just set a new location, didn't print anything out. So when we call fly airplane on biplane instead of on the airplane object, it lets you know that, well, we let it know that it's going to print a new location, and then this is the override method. So instead of just changing the location, now it has some extra functionality here specific to the biplane class and the biplane objects. Like, for example, we can create an airplane using the airplane class still, like, no problem. Right, and then we could call this again, and then flying the biplane here, airplane. So we'll change this to Washington DC or something, and when we run that, it's only going to print this is the overridden method from Chicago, because inside of our original airplane method, fly airplane method, we never printed anything out. But if you want to check what the new location of airplane was, you could just do airplane.location, and then it'll say it's Washington DC. So now we have, inside the child class, we have a method of the same name but different functionality. And when you call this method on a biplane, it does something different than when you call it on an airplane, because you've overridden the original method inside your child class. Okay, there we go. That's method overriding. Done with that. And there's a method you can write is subclass to check if we'll say, like, why don't we do, just use our biplane and airplane. So this should print true. Yep. See down there, it's true, because biplane is obviously a subclass of airplane. And by the way, guys, we've created our own classes here, but all of this airplane is also a subclass of the object class. So if you want to kind of see, and everything's a subclass of the object class. It's gonna work. Yeah, this should work. Yeah, there you go. True. because everything is a subclass of that. If you were to do like well, literally you could put anything here. You could put string, you could put list, you could put an integer, and they would all be a subclass of the object class. Obviously, if you were to reverse this, it would, oh, you know what? It's printing true. Oh wait, no, this is the way I had it before, my bad. Sorry, I didn't actually reverse it, even though I said it would. Okay, nope, spelled Biplane wrong. And there you go, it would say false. Obviously, airplane is not a subclass of biplane, it's the other way around. So biplane is a subclass of airplane. So that's how you can check. There's also a method called isInstance of to check if, say, like biplane is an instance of the airplane class. But that one's, pretty self-explanatory. Anyways, so that's just your bog standard single inheritance. It took a bit of a while.